Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's episode, I am joined by freshman from the UConn women's hockey team, Brooke Campbell. Brooke won her team's Rookie of the Year award by having 8 goals and 5 assists in 35 games. Brooke, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, and how's everything going?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on. Everything's going well. It's been a great day. It's very, very beautiful outside here. So it's happy to be summer, have a little break. So yeah, it's been really nice.
Yeah, the weather's been finally good this week. I feel like during April, it was really tough, some tough, cold, rainy days, at least here in New England.
Yeah, we've avoided some rain too, which is really nice. So it's nice to have a little break and see some sun.
Well, I said that you are a freshman. Are you technically a sophomore now since the years have finally ended?
Technically, yes, I'm finished all my classes and hockey's done. So I would consider myself a sophomore, but it's a little bit scary to hear because freshman year went by so fast. But yeah, I guess technically I would be a sophomore.
Now, how's your off season been like so far? And do you have any plans this summer to do anything fun, whether it's hockey related or not?
Yeah, well, off season's been great. When we were on campus, obviously we did some spring training with our team, and with the new rink, we had some ice as well, which was really cool, and just some fun activities, team bonding, which you don't get to do as much in season since you're always so busy. So it was really nice to have that. And then coming home, honestly, I just spent as much time as I could with my family, visited my grandparents, and like some nice stuff like that. Visited friends, but for the rest of summer, mostly just working, training some more, going back to school to train a little bit, and that's that. Then getting ready for next season.
That's awesome. I saw the scavenger hunt that your team did with the men's team. That looked like it was a lot of fun. I think your
Yes.
team won, if I'm not
Our
mistaken.
team did win. Yeah. It was awesome. It was pretty hard, but it was honestly a lot of fun. It was very hot out that day though.
Yeah,
So
no, it looked like it was a lot of fun. My favorite part of the video was when you had to take a picture with that random person or they had to take a picture of you. That was a lot of that. I found that pretty funny.
oh yeah, there was so many people we just went up to them, hey, can we get a picture with you? And they're like, okay, like why are you dressed like crazy and look like you're like sweating? But I'm just gonna say yes. So it was
Yeah,
hilarious.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, your team's looking pretty good for next year. You guys are only losing like I think 5 or 6 players due to graduation, and you're bringing in a pretty strong freshman class. Just talk about what you and the team want to work on for next year, and what are you, I guess, trying to work on the most this off season heading into your sophomore year?
Yeah, you know what? Looking at next year and seeing everybody that we have not only coming back, but everybody that's obviously still staying and just like moving up a year and everyone we have coming in, it's looking like we're going to have like a really strong core from what we built last year. We just plan on, carrying that over into next year and just keep going up. And our coaches and us, we've obviously had conversations and we do think that we're going to be a strong team. So obviously we're going to be pushing to do the best that we can because we think we're going to have a lot of capabilities to do really well in our league. And personally, this offseason, I'm just going to try and work just to keep getting stronger. The league is so, everyone's so strong because, girls are so much older than you. So really just working on strength and just, bettering myself as much as I can, shooting pucks, doing skills training, and just doing everything I can so that I can come back even better than I was.
The league seems wide open this year because Northeastern's losing 3 of their top players, say
Mm-hmm.
along with Boston College. So, how does you think UConn fits into all of that?
You know what? For our team specifically, we like to kind of just focus on what we can do. So first, we're kind of just looking at our own team and we're just evaluating how we think we can do and not really trying to focus on the outside sources, just making sure that whenever we go out to play, that we're playing our best hockey, that we're playing the game that we know how to play because we know that when we're playing our best hockey, no matter who's on the ice against us, we can definitely beat them. So I really think that that's going to be our main focus. But yeah, with the teams losing that, I think that maybe that'll be a bit of help. But either way, no matter who's on the ice, we're going to play the same.
Yeah, I remember Coach McKenzie telling me he thought the big thing your team needed to work on was holding leads at the end of the games,
Mm-hmm.
and he also thought you guys would need to score more goals consistently. I'm wanted to get your thoughts on that. If you thought that was sort of an accurate assessment of your team last year and some of the things you had to work on.
Yeah, for sure. I do agree with that. I think that our team, obviously, with the people that they lost last year, they're absolutely amazing players. Like nobody can say that they weren't because they're phenomenal, huge goal scorers in Natalie Snodgrass and the Wabicks. So obviously losing them hit a little bit hard. So when we were coming in, everybody just had the mindset of, okay, let's just like play the best that we can and like see what happens. Like everyone's just gonna go out there and do their best. So when it did come to goal scoring, I think we did miss them a little bit, but I think as the year went on, it did start to get better because everybody started to settle in a little bit more. So when it comes to holding leads, honestly, that was more just a mental thing, I think, for us, being up and you're like, oh my God, you're at the end of the game. You just gotta keep going. So just giving that extra push at the end of the game. But honestly, leading into next year, I think we're gonna be a lot more mentally tough, and I think we're gonna be able to do that very well. So I know that's something that we're gonna bear down and focus on. So I'm not too worried.
So let's talk about the beginning of your hockey career and sort of work all the way up to where you are today. So From the research I've done yourself, it says that you're from Essex, Ontario. So talk about growing up there and how'd you start playing hockey?
Yeah, obviously being in Essex, I'm not sure many people don't know where it is, but it's right near Windsor. So Essex is just like a small little town in the area. And growing up, my parents, obviously my dad played hockey and my brother played hockey, and my mom had a lot of knack for the game due to my grandpa. So my parents just put me into skating. And initially, how I started was my parents got me figure skates so I could just learn how to can skate. But I would always yell at them. I was like, I don't want these skates. Like, I want cool skates. I want hockey skates. So, like, 3-year-old me yelling at my parents that I want hockey skates. And my dad knew ever since that moment, like, I wasn't going to be found in ballet classes. I was going to be on the ice playing hockey. So, it kind of started off there when I just loved skating and I just wanted to keep going and play hockey because I had so much energy. So, that's kind of how I started there. And once I got into hockey, there was no stopping me. I was just going to keep going because I loved it so much. So, growing up in a small town, you have so much support in the community, which is so big for us. So, growing up, you just know everybody and you get to know people, and it's just amazing because everyone supports you throughout your whole journey.
Who was your favorite player growing up? If I had to guess, it was probably someone on the Toronto Maple Leafs, but you could have been a fan of another Canadian team, if I'm being honest.
Yes, it was definitely the Toronto Maple Leafs. Growing up, I really liked Phil Kessel. I got to meet him when I was younger. When I went to visit the Air Canada Center at the time, which was, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But I also really looked up to Megan Augusta from the women's team, the women's national team, because she actually grew up in Leamington, which is only about 20 minutes from my area. So I also got to meet her and like got to know her. So it was always like, oh my God, I want to be like Megan Augusta. I want to go play hockey in university and be on Team Canada. So I definitely looked up to them too.
Yeah, I remember looking up like the career points leaders in NCAA women's hockey history, and I think Megan Augusta's like top five. I think she had over like 300 career points, which is just insane to think about because I don't think
Yeah,
that's ever gonna happen again.
she's absolutely a phenomenal player and a phenomenal person. I actually got to help her in her camp when I was a few years ago. She has high performance camps that she runs in the area when she comes home. So she just reached out and asked if I could like help instruct on the ice. So I got to know her a little bit more personally, and she's just a phenomenal person and obviously an amazing hockey player. So it was really exciting watching her when I was growing up.
What's Phil Kessel like? I've heard so many stories about him on the Leafs, so I just want to know if he sort of lived up to the name.
Yeah, I don't know why I ended up liking Phil Kessel. It was kind of like a random one, but I always saw him like, oh my God, his shot is so good. Like, I want to have a shot like that. So I think that's kind of where it started. But I don't know. I was pretty young when I met him. I think I was probably only about 12 years old. So when I met him, he like lifted me off the stands and put me on the ground and signed my jersey. And I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. But I just remember him being super, super nice. And he was probably like, oh my God, I got a huge fan here. Like, this is pretty cool. So who knows
Yeah,
what he was thinking, but he was just so kind to me and my family. And, you
that's
know,
awesome.
took the time to take pictures and sign autographs, which was really cool for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's kind of cool to think that he's the Iron Man leader in the NHL because like you wouldn't expect it because of all the stories about him eating like hot dogs and cokes
I
before.
know, I know, but people really do underestimate how good of a player he is because
Yeah,
whenever he's out there, like he's lethal with the puck. Like if he's winding up for a shot, like that's gonna be a hard shot. Get out of the way.
I find that story kind of funny because I'm a huge Bruins fan, and I remember meeting Tyler Sagan back in the
Mhm.
day, and he obviously he was on the Bruins because of that Phil Kessel trade. So it's kind of funny to hear how things work out that way.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Now, getting back to your hockey career, before UConn, you played for a team called the Southwest Wildcats in the OWHL. I want to ask, how'd you get the opportunity to join that junior hockey team?
Yeah, obviously, like I mentioned, like Essex just being a small town, it's right here in Windsor, or like right close to Windsor. So my thing was I did want to stay local playing hockey because I absolutely love this area. So, when kind of like looking around and seeing with who, like seeing the players that I played with in the past, they had went to Southwest. So I decided to reach out to Jen Hitchcock, who was the coach there at the time, and I knew her past with playing college hockey at UNH, and I heard so many good things about her being an amazing coach. So I really decided that I think that would be a good fit for me. So I reached out and then I went to a tryout and everything kind of just like went up from there. And I ended up signing with the team. And that's where I was for the next few years before I went to college.
We'll talk about your experience with the Wildcats and how it helped prepare you for college hockey with UConn.
Yeah, like I mentioned, Jen Hitchcock was the coach there along with her sister, Jess Hitchcock, and Kayla Ranowski. So they were three people who had originally played for different universities in UNH and St. Lawrence. So obviously with that, they were really good at guiding me to help with talking to schools and just they knew what it took to get to that next level. So that was really helpful. And it was just amazing. Like the girls on my team, everybody came from like small towns all over the area. So everybody got together and we all just wanted to play hockey and just do well. So the environment in that team was just amazing, and the girls were phenomenal. Like I said, I played with a lot of girls who are now also playing university hockey, and Sarah Marchand and Kira Judicus. So just absolutely phenomenal players. So I think everybody just fed off each other and helped each other improve to because everyone had those same goals of getting to the next level. So it was really nice.
And you served as the team captain in the 2021-22 season. What was it like being a captain of that team, and what type of leadership did you want to bring to the team? Were you more of a vocal leader, lead by example? And how does that leadership skills that you learned in junior hockey help prepare, I guess, help you in your transition into college hockey?
Yeah, honestly, being named a captain was obviously such an honor at first. Like that's honestly such a big opportunity, and I'm so thankful that I got to have that chance. And personally for me, I'm somebody who likes to kind of like I'm a very vocal person. I'm very outgoing, so I like to be vocal in the dressing room, but also lead by example on the ice because obviously you don't want to say things and not also do them. So I really just wanted to make sure that things were always positive, making sure that I encourage and motivate everybody to play their best game because that's what matters. So just leading by example on the ice, trying to keep such a positive environment in the dressing room and make sure communication between the players and coaches is going well and making sure everything runs smoothly. That's kind of where my mind was at, but also just making sure that it's fun. I feel like so many people forget to have fun when you're in such like a high competitive league. So just making sure that on the ice is fun and off the ice is fun and that everybody's happy.
Now, like many players in your class, you had to deal with a lot of challenges due to the pandemic. You had one season canceled because of COVID, and then the following season you had to deal with a lot of restrictions, I presume, because of the pandemic. So my question is, how did you handle that adversity, and what were some of the things you did during that time period to make sure you're getting better as a hockey player when you weren't always on the ice 24/7?
Yeah, it was definitely difficult. I remember it was March break of 2020 when the season ended up getting canceled from the previous season, and we were just getting ready to go for provincials, and we were at practice, and they're like, "Okay, well, this is our last practice. You got nothing else," and everybody was like flabbergasted, like, "What is going on?" So obviously, the next year being canceled, you're kind of sitting at home not knowing what to do because your life has been hockey for how many years before. So personally for me, I just tried to focus on doing as much as I could at home. I started doing workouts at home on Zoom with teammates or just with my family, with my brother or my parents or something, like as much as I could do to make sure that I'm still trying to stay in shape and shooting in the garage or stick handling outside, going for rollerblades with my mom, like doing the little things that you could when you were enclosed in such a small space and not able to go out and skate like you usually would or go to a gym. So really just trying to keep those little things up and doing whatever I could do under the circumstances. And it was so weird seeing all the rinks closed because that's never happened before. So when we finally got back, you were able to go to the rinks. I remember there was like caution tape all over and lines all over the floor, and you had to wear your masks. And I had to get dressed in the parking lot like I was a Timbit again, which was crazy to me. But once you finally got out on that ice, you also only had like a limited amount of people that you're allowed to be with. So you really just trying to make the most of the time that I finally got on the ice once it came back because it wasn't very like the minutes were limited for sure. So just trying to make the most of every situation and do all the little things to help me stay in shape and stay sane because hockey's been my whole life. So a lot of it was just making sure that my mental toughness was there and keeping everything up.
Did you like those at-home workouts? And do you found some sort of benefit with them? Because talking to other players, I heard they sort of like the at-home workouts a little bit more because it's more body weight based, and they thought it helped them get stronger in certain areas. When in regards to like trying to keep possession of the puck when a defender's like hounding them in the offensive zone, they said they told me they sort of help them out in that area of their game. I just want to know if you found sort of any benefit from an at-home workout that you wouldn't get sort of at a gym.
Yeah, I feel like for me personally, I don't have all the resources that I would when I go to a gym. So obviously there was a lot of variations that I had to make. So for me personally, I ended up doing a lot more like core and body weight exercises and a lot more balance. So I feel like when it came to coming back, I definitely did feel a lot of benefits from having those at-home workouts that I probably wouldn't have got before because there was so much focus on just finding your like center of gravity and being able to like be strong in that position. So getting back on the ice, it helped when like, oh, you're getting hit off the puck or anything like that. I feel like those little like core exercises and balance exercises that I'd do body weight that I wouldn't normally do as often in a gym really did benefit me, yes.
And obviously, Ontario was probably one of the last provinces to sort of open up a little bit more. How did you sort of get the rust out of your skates a little bit once restrictions finally started getting lifted towards the end of your senior year?
Yeah, it was really weird because all of a sudden I just see rinks opening up in other places and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for Ontario, like I'm ready to go too. So, um, getting on the ice for the first time was the weirdest thing because I remember I'm skating around, I go, oh my God, I can't believe I actually know how to play hockey. Like it felt so weird, but I would say probably after 25 minutes, I was already like, okay, I feel
Yeah.
better. Like I feel like you just gotta skate around and get a feel for the puck again on the ice and just kind of get used to the atmosphere and environment again because it's been so long. But personally, I feel like it probably took just like a week of like regular skating, a couple practices, and then I was like back in the rhythm of it. But it definitely felt really weird. I had to like give my head a shake for a second. I'm like, okay, you remember how to play hockey. You can do this. It
Yeah.
was really weird.
I feel like that time made me more, I guess, appreciative of the game just because I didn't realize how the game could just be taken away from you so fast. And I sort of took that for granted a lot before COVID took place. And I feel like now, after the pandemic, I feel more, I guess, appreciative of just the little things that I wouldn't have really thought of before the pandemic took place. And that's something that, at least I think, one of the positive things that I took away from the whole pandemic. Because there was a
Yeah,
lot of bad things, but that was one of the positive things I think I took away from it.
I agree 100%. You really take for granted those little moments when you have them, but then when they're taken away, you're like, oh, what do I do? So
Yeah.
for sure, they're definitely you really do build another a level of acceptance almost and positivity towards that game because once you don't have it, you're kind of lost.
I felt bad for you guys in Ontario because I remember British Columbia opened up like a year out before Toronto started lifting restrictions. I was like, dang, like people are starting to like do stuff, and you guys are still like having to deal with all that stuff. I felt bad a little bit.
Yeah, we were definitely stuck for a while, so it was tough, but you know what? It was just stay positive and
hmm
stay focused and calm and kind of like collected through everything because we knew that it was coming soon. So just patience.
What's the best memory you have from your hockey days with the Wildcats?
Honestly, there's a lot to pick from no matter what, but I'd have to say my first year before COVID came along, the bus trips because our team, I don't know if you know where Windsor is, but we're like our closest drive was normally to London, so that's 2 hours. So we're not really close anywhere. So you're always on the bus. Every weekend you're on the bus. You're either 2 hours to London, 4 hours to Toronto, 10 hours to Ottawa. So I just specifically remember our first bus trip ever to Ottawa, and we're all on the bus and you know what? It creates another environment where you just are able to get to know everybody. Everybody's so excited. So you get to know people on another level, like outside of hockey, but then when you're actually at the games, it kind of prepared me almost for university because you already had that. You're in the hotel, you have pregame, and then you're on the bus and you're going to the rink. So like I kind of already had that feel for it, whereas some people who might have lived in Toronto didn't have that as much. So I was already used to that travel, like a normal travel day, which is pretty cool. So those definitely have to be my best memories because we definitely had fun on the bus and in the hotels, just,
Yeah.
doing whatever we do.
Any karaoke things on the bus? That I heard a lot of teams do that.
Oh yeah, we had like karaoke where you have the headphones on, you can't hear yourself and you're just like screaming away on the mic and it was hilarious. And we had the best bus driver ever, so we called him Johnny B. So he gave us his mic at one point. We're like screaming through the mic on the bus and it's echoing everywhere and we're all like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." But it was so much fun. Like so much good bonding, like so many good memories and I wouldn't give them away for the world. Like it was the best.
What was like your go-to karaoke song?
I would definitely go something Taylor Swift, like "You Belong with Me" or "Love Story."
That's good.
I just know those word for word. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I think my guilty pleasure song would have to be "Style" by Taylor Swift. I love
Oh
that
God.
song. I like singing it in the car by myself, but you never
Mhm.
catch me singing it in public at all, just because I'd be too embarrassed to do it.
That's funny. It's such a good song though.
Yeah,
I
and
love it.
also I guess those bus trips probably made it once you got to UConn a little bit easier because UConn has probably the shortest bus trips in all of college hockey, so it's probably like a breeze for you going to like Providence and Holy Cross and stuff like
Yes.
that.
It was crazy. Like I just remember sometimes I'd get on the bus and like I'm like listening to my music. Like I was always somebody like I would nap for the first bit and then I'd wake up to make sure I have enough time to like listen to my music and like feel loose. So like I I think we were on our way to like Holy Cross or something. I go, "Oh my God. I can't close my eyes. We're only like 30 minutes away. What do I do?" So
Yeah,
like I guess I'll just listen to my music now. Like it was like weird, but
yeah.
honestly, I'm not complaining. I don't miss the crazy, crazy long bus trips on the way home
hmm
because you're always
Especially for the
exhausted.
main one. The main one's the most the is a hard one to do.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of people thought it was tough, but I was like, it's really not too bad. Honestly, you can probably sleep for most of it and then you're okay.
Now, you also got to participate in the U18 Hockey Canada National Summer Showcase, which must have been super beneficial for yourself to help prepare you for college hockey since you're going against other D1 commits at that time. What was that experience like playing against those high-end players in Hockey Canada?
Yeah, I remember receiving the email for the invite to that, and I was ecstatic. Like it's everyone's dream to like get to do like things like this for your country. So I was so excited, and I got to go to Calgary where I've never been. So I was really excited. It was absolutely beautiful there. So that was the first part. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I'm so excited. And just being in that environment and having that atmosphere of so many phenomenal players around you and so many phenomenal coaches who have made marks all over history and university and national league play. It's absolutely an honor. And it was kind of like surreal at the moment. I'm like, oh my goodness, like these people are like legends and they're just walking around normal, like talking to us. So it was an incredible experience. And I felt like I learned so much from all the coaches, like the practices, the games, playing against such good competition, and just being able to like learn different things, specific skills from the coaches, and being able to carry that into my future play outside of that camp. But yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I'm so appreciative that I got to do that.
Talk about your recruitment process to UConn. What made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at? And I was told that the coaching staff found you by you did a camp at UConn in one summer, and that's sort of how they found out about your sort of your whole hockey profile. So talk about joining that camp and what made UConn the place for you.
Yeah, actually, UConn was the first school that I had actually talked to on the phone. So when I was younger, I was pretty young at that time, and I had gone to that camp and a few other camps. But like in my head, like I didn't really know what I was doing yet. Like I was still really young, so I was like, oh yay, like I'll go to university camps. But I'm like, what's university? Like I don't even know yet. So it was honestly just for like fun and development at that time. But then I started to talk to UConn and a few other schools, and I was like, okay, like this is the real deal. I'm like really got to like buckle down. And then from there on, it just kind of took off, and it was an exciting experience to say the least. Obviously, there's some stresses that come in there, but um, going through that process and being able to talk to so many schools and learn so many different things, not only about those schools but about myself, and being able to just keep working on my stuff on the ice to then make sure that I'm getting to that level was amazing. And then coming to UConn, it was kind of a no-brainer for me in the end. I had talked to some pretty amazing schools, but I remember stepping on that campus and talking to those coaches, and I was like, this is the environment and this is the culture that is perfect for me. It reminds me of home. Everybody's such a like close-knit family, and like that's exactly what I want. And the coaches were so welcoming. And I talked to some players, and there was a player from around here, Savannah Buzad, who had previously played on UConn. So I talked to her a lot too, and she just expressed how much she loved the campus. She loves the education. She loves the coaches, the players, and that really just kind of solidified it for me. I'm like, this is where I want to be. So coming from that first phone call when I was so young to finally committing there, it was a long process, but it was definitely worth it because I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And it seems like the culture that is at UConn is awesome. Like it seems like you guys are really close with one another, and it seems like you guys always try to encourage each other and get yourself better throughout every practice and games, at least whenever I watch from a fan perspective on in the stands. Is that I'm assuming I'm correct on that assessment?
Yes, 100%. That's our big thing. Like we want a good culture. We want to make sure that we are a family. Like that comes first before everything. Like hockey is something and education is one thing, but when you have good people around you, good things are going to happen around you. So making sure that we're just like everyone's good person, making sure that everybody's happy and everybody has those same goals, it creates such a good culture and such a good family like environment that you never want to leave. Like it's amazing. So that's for sure our biggest thing, and I would say that it's perfect there.
I love the coaching staff dynamic because it seems like Coach McKenzie is like super nice guy, and it seems like Coach Casey is very, very mean. I know he's not a mean guy. I know he's a
Not at
super
all.
nice guy, but on the bench, he's definitely a very intimidating person.
You know what? At first, you could look at him and you think he's so intimidating, but absolutely, like, not at all. Like, once you talk to him in person, they're all such great people. Like, I have absolutely nothing bad to say about them. And they all know their hockey so well from like Coach Wolfie, Coach Mack, and Coach Casey. Like, they're so knowledgeable about the game that every time I talk to them, I'm just learning stuff all the time, which is it's awesome. Like, you just feel like you're there and you're just like taking everything in because you want to get better. But no, not intimidating at all. Like probably from first glance, like he's very serious, very competitive, as is all of us. So it's good to have that. But just such amazing people. And they have the same goals as us. So
Yeah.
it works out really, really well.
I just remember sitting behind the bench one time and he was just yelling for line changes. I was like, oh my gosh, it like kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. So just very intimidating guy. But from what I've heard, he's one of the nicest people in hockey. And I definitely gotta get him on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, he's absolutely amazing. He knows his stuff, and you know what? He may be yelling, but it's not because he's mad at us, it's because he knows what he's talking about, but he would never do that. So no, he's just very encouraging, very motivating, and one of the nicest guys and so knowledgeable at hockey. I cannot stress that enough. It's incredible.
Now, as a freshman, what was like some of the biggest adjustments you had to make to college hockey? Was it the speed of the game, the physicality, or sort of just the time and space that you have since you have much less time and space to create passes and shoot compared to junior hockey?
Yeah, I would honestly say it's kind of like a mix of all those things. Like going in, obviously the speed of the game was like an adjustment, but I feel like that's something that you can kind of get used to a little bit quicker than the others. But I just remember my first game, like we played an exhibition game against Quinnipiac, and it was the strength of the players. I'm like, okay, I really gotta like make sure I'm being strong in the puck because people are not going to be soft. Like there's a lot of physicality. So that was probably the biggest adjustment that I had to make. And then you have the puck, like you got to be making a decision before you get it. So
Mm-hmm.
the time and space and like how much time you actually do have with the puck and time under pressure. So adjusting to that and really knowing how to play in those situations was probably the biggest thing for me.
Real welcome to college hockey moment going against Kendall Cooper in your very first collegiate game.
Oh yeah. I was like taking draws and I'm like, oh my God, I know these people from seeing them on like TV and watching them in all
Yeah.
these games. I was like, just focus on yourself. You can do this.
Now, what's it like playing in Hockey East, just the competition you face every weekend? I know you say you try to focus on your team, but you're also going against some of the best teams in the country every single weekend. So just talk a little about just the competition that you face. And because I think Hockey East is a very underrated conference, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I know when I was looking at the different leagues and conferences before I actually committed anywhere, like Hockey East, I was like, okay, that's the league that I want to be in. That league looks good because every team is so amazing that no matter what game is happening, anybody can win. Like everybody is so close in talent and everything that it's always going to be a competition. It's always going to be a grind. You never know what's going to happen. So I feel like that makes it so much more fun because every game you're walking in there and you got to put your best foot forward or else you never know what's going to happen. Like it just makes it so much more fun. So having that, I feel like it's amazing. And like playing against some of like the best players in the world and in the leagues, it's honestly amazing. It's such an honor and being able to just compete with them, it's so exciting and it makes you want to improve yourself, which you know what, it just improves everybody around you too. So I absolutely love the competition.
And UConn was ranked in the top 15 of the USHO polls throughout most of the regular season. So I want to ask, how did your team sort of maintain that consistency throughout the regular season? And how do you guys handle any pressure that your team faces being one of the top ranked teams in the country? Because obviously when you have that ranking, there's definitely a target on your team's back, whether you sort of want to admit it or not.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I think that having that bit of a target kind of like helped us out a bit. Like it made us want it even more. Like it's that fight to just keep moving up the rankings. Like you're hungry to keep getting better and having teams come after you and be like, okay, like they're ranked, we want to beat them. It's like, no, like this is our spot. Like you're holding your ground and you're just gonna keep pushing. But like I mentioned before, like when it comes to like the pressure of being in the rankings, I feel like we knew we were there, but we wanted to focus on ourselves because we knew that no matter what we do, we have to put our best foot forward or you never know what's going to happen. So making sure that we focused on ourselves, we pushed each other, we were always competitive in any game that we played, and that we just played our best hockey was really the most important. So I feel like the pressure from the polls was not as big as the pressure that we put on ourselves.
Yeah. And obviously, the big story of your team this past season was the new rink being opened. I love Freitas, great character rink, but it was
So
definitely time for a new home. I'm glad you got to play a few games there,
me
though, because I
too.
feel like
It was
every player
definitely
needs.
nice.
I feel bad for the freshmen coming in that they don't have that Freitas experience because you need to
Yeah,
have one game at the character rink, as I like to call it.
I
But
agree.
but talk about the new rink and what it's like playing there now. And obviously, you scored the very first goal at the Toscano Family Ice Farm. So for any bar trivia out there, your name will always be on. But talk about that goal and what it's like playing at the new rink because it's a pretty awesome facility, and I love going there.
Yeah. First of all, like having that rink on campus is such a crazy opportunity. It is absolutely beautiful. Probably one of the nicest rinks that I've ever been in my life. And I'm not just saying that because it's our rink, but because it's the truth. Like we're so fortunate to have everything that we have, like the facility and everything, when it comes to like training rooms, dressing rooms, like it's all top of the like top notch, like top of the line. So we're so incredibly thankful for that. Like huge shout out to all the volunteers who like made that happen, and especially like Dan Toscano's family, like they were there opening weekend, like his son sang the national anthem for us. So like really we do feel we're so thankful for him and everything that they've done for to make this like a reality for us, because it honestly makes me speechless. So huge shout out to all of them. Like it's amazing. So thankful. But being able to play in that rink, the atmosphere that it brings on campus, like having all the fans, everybody coming in from like students and stuff, like it creates such an amazing atmosphere, and like noise is echoing through the rink. So like it's amazing. And then obviously, yeah, scoring the first goal, like no matter who scored it, we all were going to be ecstatic. Like no matter what happened, we just knew that we were getting that first goal. Like that's all we were focused on. So having it be a power play goal, it was so exciting. Like Claire shot the puck and like we tipped it in, but I tipped it in, but we were just excited that we got the first goal, and we're waiting for that puck to go up, that UConn got the first goal in the rink. Like it wasn't any other team. So as a group and as a campus and a community and for everybody, like that was just a huge moment. So thankful to have that opportunity, and so grateful for everybody that allowed it to happen.
Is the puck going to be like enshrined somewhere in the rink as the first goal? I feel like I don't know if it like got kept or not.
Yeah, we did grab the puck. I'm not sure if they know what we're gonna do with it yet, but I'm thinking it's gonna end up going in a box on display somewhere with like
Mhm.
past past accomplishments somewhere. I'm not completely sure yet, but I think they're planning on doing something with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see that, and hopefully a little space for a future Hockey East championship trophy in the next few years. That'll be
I
pretty.
agree 100%.
I heard that you predicted that you were going to score the first goal. I don't know if that's a true story or not.
You know what? Everybody was kind of just joking around, and someone goes like, "Oh my God, like Soupy, like you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it." And I was like, I don't know, maybe like whatever happens, happens. But it was just kind of like a funny thing, like just a fluke. But you know what? Nobody for sure. Everybody just wanted a goal. Nobody
Yeah,
cared who got it, but people were just saying that, so I thought that was pretty funny.
that's pretty awesome. And I remember, I think the atmosphere at the rink is sort of what stands out to me because I've been to other Hockey East rinks, and I honestly feel like you guys have the best atmosphere in all of the rinks in Hockey East, and that must be such a huge advantage to just have that fan support, but also sort of for a visiting team coming in, it's really hard to play in that tough of an environment, that hostile environment. So you must really enjoy to sort of play in that rink. And also when you see other rinks in Hockey East, it's sort of like, wow, like shows you how much of a big fan base that we have.
Yeah, for sure. Like I talked about how like great our culture is in our team and stuff, but that doesn't even go for only our team. Like our whole campus, like everybody, it's such a great community. So having all those people like come in and like knowing that they support UConn athletics and having them come to games, like it's just so loud and like noise is echoing. So as a visiting team, I know I for sure wouldn't want to go in there because like that's definitely a bit intimidating no matter where you go. So um again, like just so grateful for that. And the rink is just it's so phenomenal, and I'm excited for us to like create more memories in it next year and years to come, and really just make the most out of all of
Yeah. I like the when the alumni showed up for that first weekend. And then I think I don't know who scored that goal in front of them in the student section, but them going crazy. They definitely had a fun time that weekend based on what I was watching on the Jumbotron and stuff. So what's it like seeing that as well?
Oh my God, that was the best thing ever. Like, first of all, for me being a freshman, I got to meet some of the alumni who have like built up the name of UConn and like have helped us get to where we are. So it was great to be able to meet the people who like made this possible, because it's not only a rink for us, like it's a rink for them. Like they were how we got here. So being able to say thank you to them not only for this, but I'm so happy that they're able to be there to enjoy this moment with us, and like um that picture of everybody jumping into the
Yeah.
side, and they're like celebrating on the glass, like it was just it was electric out there, like everybody was just going crazy. So it was so nice to have them there and have them like see what they helped create for us.
Yeah.
So um I'm so thankful that they're all able to make the trip and to meet some of the legends of like UConn women's hockey, which was really
Yeah.
cool.
I think that was Thurman's breakaway goal against Vermont, that photo, if I'm not mistaken. If I think that's where it came from.
I think it might have been, that might be it. Yeah, I don't
And
know.
then one more question about the new rink is I love the goal song. CS La Vie, I think is the name. How did
Taylor
that
V,
come
yeah.
about?
Pardon?
How did that song come about? How'd you guys pick that goal song? Because that was the first time I heard it, at least this season.
Hmm. We just wanted to have something that was like kind of like different. Like most people just have like a huge goal horn and like I don't know, you hear your typical songs, but like we wanted something a little bit different to go and like it's like a half French song mix and like we have a lot of French people on our team, so like it was kind
Mhm.
of cool to have that. But we just thought it was like it was different. So like we're like, okay, like it's kind of hype, like it's different, like let's get it out there. We love it. And everybody like I know we had like UConn women's lacrosse and like other teams are like, oh my God, we love your goal song. We wish it was our goal song. We're like, it's ours. We chose it. But no, we just wanted something a little bit different and now we love it. So it's perfect.